your hosts, Quixote and Lewis. Let's mark out.
Yo, what's going on, baby? We are back, brother. We are back, Lewis. We are back. This is episode 67 of On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. I'm your boy, Quixote, joined by none other than the man himself, the administrator, Lewis. He is draped in his Yankee garb. He is sweating bullets. But listen, we're gonna get there, Lewis. Your team's gonna get there, man.
Yo, everybody, I'm not sweating bullets. I'm not sweating shit. But hopefully by the time you listen to this episode, the Yankees will have already advanced to the ALCS against either Detroit or Cleveland. So
yes,
let's go Yankees.
Let's go Yankees, baby. Let's go Yankees. Lewis, it's been a long time, man. We shouldn't have left you without a dope beat to step to. And listen, we took a little hiatus. Our boy, our third chair is not here. He's going on vacation. Good for him. He deserves it. But we're gonna bring you. We are recording on Tuesday. We don't normally record on Tuesday, but this feels nice. I kind of like it. I don't know why. It just feels like early in the week where now our content gets to live a little longer, right? In the Instagram and Facebook world and YouTube world, right? But we're back and we are coming off of a big wrestling weekend. We had Bad Blood in Atlanta, Georgia, baby. Atlanta, Georgia, a wrestling town that has seen a lot. And Bad Blood, I got to tell you, was good. It was a good show. 5 matches, 3 hours, and I think 15 or 20 minutes runtime. It was like picture perfect in terms of the length of the match, of the matches, the card itself. It was just perfect. The pay-per-view was good. It started off hot, Lewis. We're gonna get right into it. Started off hot, cage match, grudge match, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk to end this 9+ month rivalry. Lewis, I gotta tell you, the match was way better than I expected. It was better. It was constructed well. It was produced well. The blood was flowing, and Lewis, it was so. The blood is so rare in WWE that when you see it, you almost feel like you shouldn't be seeing it. Like you almost feel like it just shouldn't be happening here. But I loved it, and I love the violence and they sold everything. I gotta tell you, I'm never high on WWE matches because I just think they're so formulaic. But this was pretty solid. And on Monday, Punk comes out to sell the injuries and the hurt and the pain even more, which is what you should do with a Hell in a Cell match, right? There's a Hell in a Cell. We both were bleeding. We both were getting smashed into the cage. I need to believe that you're hurt. And Punk did that on Monday, and that made it feel even bigger. Lewis, I gave this match like a solid B+. I'm teetering on the A. You know me. B+ is solid though, but I'm teetering on the A. And dude, I got to know what you thought. Am I crazy, or did the match live up to what the hype was?
Well, I admittedly did not watch the match in its entirety. I actually missed out on the PLE, and I just caught highlights and bits and pieces of it. Like, so, I basically ingested the pay-per-view in chunks, or digested, whatever. But how's that for Bad Blood, right? So, I want to hit on the point that you mentioned. So, it's appropriate to have blood on a pay-per-view or PLE that's titled Bad Blood. After all, you could not have had a blow-off match to this insanely long and personal and intense rivalry between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre without some bloodshed from both opponents. It just wouldn't have made sense for it not to have had blood. And like you said, because WWE doesn't do it so gratuitously, it felt like you were watching something special. Now I'm gonna go back and watch the match from bell to bell in its entirety, but from what I've gathered, it was a very memorable affair. The visuals were great, and the response online from wrestling fans, other wrestlers, retired wrestlers, like they all praised the match unanimously, and it seemed like it was rightfully so.
Yeah.
And they had to have delivered because it was the climax of their feud. Some are even calling it match of the year. I don't think it was match of the
I
year
wouldn't
for
go-
the
Yeah,
for
I
the
wouldn't go that
entire
far.
industry,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking in terms of WWE matches for 2024 could very well be match of the year, at least a candidate for match of the year. But it is not match of the year overall.
No,
Like that, I wouldn't say.
no. Lewis, when you get a chance, I need you to watch this match from bell to bell.
Yeah.
I want you.
I'll probably do that this weekend.
I want to know your opinion because I thought it was solid. And you know me, I don't praise WWE matches that much. I thought it was pretty solid. And it was very smart because they started off hot with it, and the crowd was into it.
Yeah.
They blood and hitting each other with wrenches and throwing each other through cages and claymore and oh man, it was I got to give it up to them. I gotta give it up. It was pretty damn solid. So Bad Blood started off hot. Now I gotta tell you, the Shark Tank match with your boy Dom in there, and he flips over and he's chained to the. First off, why is his ankle chained when he didn't enter the cage with his ankle chained?
When I was watching the footage, I had the same wondering. I had literally the same wondering, like, why is he dangling from this shit as if like he stepped in a bear trap?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like he was just walking through the forest and like the trap just snatched him up. Like it didn't. I don't know. It didn't make sense visually.
It didn't make no damn sense.
It was a little cheesy.
Again, entertaining, but didn't make sense. Your girl though makes her return. Raquel Rodriguez makes her return in probably one of the worst returns I've ever seen in terms of just a lot of things were just not choreographed properly and timed right. The timing was off on a lot of it. Raquel intersect, like she comes into paths with the ref, which I don't think the ref was supposed to see her, but the ref sees her, and then he has to ring the bell because he blatantly sees her. Yeah. And then it was just a mess. It was a mess. But I'm glad Raquel's back. I like Raquel. I think she's got a lot of upside in terms of, the look, the size. Yeah. She's got potential to be, and I like that she's someone's heavy. I like that she's Liv and Dom's heavy. It just works. It just works.
Yeah, it works. And so she makes a good foil for Rhea.
She makes a good foil for Rhea. So I'm very, really, really intrigued by that. And then, dude, I mean, the paper, the PLE moved on and it moved smoothly, and you had Bianca Belair and Jade and Naomi hosting, of course, the PLE that's in Atlanta, Georgia. I wonder why they're hosting the PLE in Atlanta, Georgia. WWE being very slick with that, of course. And it was cool. It was unnecessary, but it was fine. But the main event, the tag team match, Roman and Cody versus Solo and was it Solo
and Jacob?
And Jacob, yes, Solo and Jacob. Jacob is a star. Solo was cool. The match was cool. It was decent. Roman looks like he's in some of the best shape I've ever seen him, to tell you the truth. Roman looks lean, faster. Your boy looks like he's been taking care of himself.
He's looked like that. If you
since
really
Mania.
look, I was just gonna say that he's looked like that for pretty much this whole entire year.
When you see it, Lewis, he looks like that even more. Like it's more. It's even.
Oh no,
more,
I saw the highlights,
okay,
and I'm like,
okay.
yo, he looks amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. And then as the match proceeds, which was a decent match, it was entertaining. We get your boy, The Rock, and his Versace and his people's his Brahma Bull belt, which I think you're going to purchase at some point. And, and he comes out.
He's rocking that belt that was awarded to him by Muhammad Ali's estate. And he's walking around with that shit like he actually won the fucking championship.
You would think
what
he
a
won the
dick!
championship.
What a dick heel move, and I love it.
You love it.
I fucking love it. Like you did not win that championship, but you're walking around as if you are the world's heavyweight champion.
Listen,
I
man,
love it.
He's walking around like he's champ, and The Rock. No one knows who he's about to call out, who he's going after, what is brewing. No one knows, but I'm intrigued. It's always good to see The Rock on TV. The Rock brings eyes and the crowd pops hard. And this time, we just didn't know who he's going after. He could go after Roman. He's got beef with he could go after anybody in that ring. And I'm just curious where we go from that. We didn't get that Monday, so I wonder where we're gonna get some answers.
Yeah.
But
I'm wondering that too. I'm wondering if he shows up on SmackDown and SmackDown is just going to be like his primary, since Cody's on SmackDown, the Bloodline, they're on SmackDown. So it wouldn't really make sense for him to show up on Raw.
That's true.
Unless they had all the other cast of characters that are regularly on SmackDown go to Raw. But only The Rock can do some shit like that where he would pop the crowd, literally stare down the competition, not say a word, make the 1 2 3 gesture, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting because it's like, what on earth does he have up his sleeve? He already gave us that little red herring in the story with him and Cody the night after Mania.
Mm-hmm.
Where like, you broke my heart, like what the hell is in his hand, all that stuff. So the timing was very curious because I had posed that question on our Instagram page.
Yeah, I saw
where who does Cody face at WrestleMania? We're still early, but are we getting? So the question I posed was, would you rather Cody face The Rock, Roman Reigns, or CM Punk for the championship? Or is it a combination of two out of those three? Is it all three? Like, because Cody said in an interview that he plans to do something unprecedented, not in those words, but he wants to do something that hasn't been done before, some to that effect.
Lewis, the only thing I can think of to do something to that effect is that your boy Cody might main event both nights against both Samoans, Reigns and Rock. I think Punk. That's one option. I think maybe we get a mega triple threat: Rock versus Roman versus Cody.
We could,
but I don't see Punk in any of this. I think Punk is being reserved for your boy Seth Rollins. We're going to get that finally at Mania.
I didn't think of that.
And they're going to hold that off till Mania because Seth has his eyes on Bronson Reed, so they're going to keep Seth occupied for a few months. Punk is going to go and heal. He did the whole dramatic speech of he lost his smile or whatever whatever he's talking about, right? So he's going to go away for a while. Limited dates. But I think we are going to get something very big. Either Cody is going to defend that title twice against both Rock and Roman, or we're going to get Rock versus Cody versus Roman, and probably the biggest triple threat of all time in wrestling history. It's got to be one of those iterations, right? And if not, then it'll be just probably Rock and Cody, right? That's got to be the match if it's going to be made, Rock and Cody.
There's a lot of different ways that you can go about this. Removing CM Punk from the equation, when you're just thinking of Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock, of course there's money in Rock versus Cody 1-on-1.
Oh yeah.
There's also money in Rock versus Roman. Now, especially that Roman is babyface and The Rock is heel,
Mhm.
there's even more intrigue for that final payoff because we're gonna get that match. It's inevitable.
Oh yeah.
There's also money in Cody versus Roman. Again, now that Roman's babyface, the dynamic is different. Whenever you have characters switch from heel to face or vice versa, the pairing between two opponents is the match. The formula of the match is just not. It's not going to be the same. It's going to be altered because they're different characters. So you could either have Cody versus Roman, face versus face, or have Cody somewhat of a tweener, gray area kind of guy. So there's a lot of different ways you can go about it.
Could we get Cody turning heel? Because that's something unprecedented, right? That's something we all think that Cody would never ever do. Maybe Cody is actually considering it. Maybe Cody is actually thinking about it. Maybe Cody is actually saying to himself, what's the biggest thing I can do right now? The biggest thing for him to do is not to, yes, Rock and Roman would be huge matches, but the biggest thing he could do in his entire career is to do the one thing John Cena never done. And that is to turn heel. And he would be a monster heel. Oh my God. It'll be great. It'd be great. But who knows? You know, I who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. We are fantasy booking as we do here on the Mark Wrestling. But yeah, man, Bad Blood was decent. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It had some entertaining parts. It flowed well. Timing was on. And I like the Saturday start time of 6. It's a little early, but it worked. It worked because your night was still there. You were done by like 9:15 p.m. Eastern. So not bad. But Raw, though, I'm going to pivot to Raw a little bit. Raw is now 2 hours. And Lewis, when I tell you, I was shocked that it was over at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern on the dot.
No overrun.
Nothing special happened on the show. It was just a straightforward show, entertaining. We had a hell of an of a main event. Gunther versus the most lovable baby face of them all in professional race in WWE, Sami Zayn. And probably one of the most entertaining matches we had on Raw. You almost thought Sammy had it, but Gunther stays dominant. Lewis, did you see the match? What did you think?
It was as good of a main event that you could possibly get for a Monday Night Raw.
Yeah,
and that's a testament to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn always delivers. It's very rare where I'd sit there and say, I didn't care for that Sami Zayn match. I mean, of course, it depends on the story, but he's such a good storyteller in the ring.
Yeah.
Like, Sami Zayn is that guy. Yeah. He's reliable. Would I have him as a long-term world champion? Not necessarily, but you don't need to be in that role. You know, you don't need to be in that role in order to be one of the top baby faces in the company.
True.
You know, I can name you plenty of people that were like that. Mr. Perfect.
Oh yeah,
Scott
Mr.
Hall.
Perfect.
Well, when he was Razor Ramon, those were guys. Owen Hart, like those were guys that never held the title, but Rick Rude was another one.
Yeah,
I could go on and on, but those are guys that never held the world championship, but they were top guys nonetheless. Mm-hmm. And Sami Zayn fits that mold perfectly.
Yeah.
Gunther, I don't want him to lose the world championship anytime soon.
No, he needs a long reign.
I know you got Punk and Rollins and guys like that down the pipeline, but if Gunther is going to drop the title, it's got to be at WrestleMania and to someone who's very over. So I know you had mentioned Punk versus Rollins, but if they want to go into Gunther. That's what I'm saying. Punk and Gunther, I feel like that's where the money really is.
That's a money. Yeah. You could do Seth and Punk at any point, right? It doesn't need to be Mania. So
right. So and I'm saying that because the Netflix premiere is right around the corner. And
Mm.
if I were WWE, I don't think they'll have Gunther drop the title before then because it's only 2 months away.
Mhm.
I would think that you would want to promote Raw on Netflix with an unstoppable heel as your world champion.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
starting the new year and carrying it into the midpoint of 2025. Um, I just think it makes sense.
So who you thinking for the Netflix premiere, man? So we got to have a big main event for that Raw. Who are you thinking Gunther and maybe Punk? Gunther and Gunther and Punk, maybe?
I'll tell you one thing. Whatever the main event is, you're probably going to have a title change.
Mm.
You're most likely going to have a title change because the more I'm reading online, the more it's abundantly clear that WWE wants to make this one of the most buzzworthy episodes
Oh
of
yeah.
Raw in history.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you could throw in some surprise returns. You got to throw in title changes, but there needs to be something that gets everybody buzzing. And if you have, sure, you could promote a Gunther world title match as one of the main events, but you have to have a title change.
I feel you.
I think that's what would get people talking. Like you gotta do a title change, and you gotta do some sort of swerve or a turn, a strong hook to get people to realize like, oh, Raw on Netflix is gonna be a big deal going forward.
I hear you, man. Well, we got something to look forward to come 2025 with
Yeah.
Raw on Netflix, which to me should be massive. That should be
Yeah.
huge. So we'll see. But Gunther does retain on Raw this past Monday against Sami Zayn in a very competitive match that most thought, especially those in the crowd, most thought was going to be all Sammy's. But come on, if you're smart, you would think, no, Sammy ain't going to win this.
Yeah.
Come on. Who are we kidding? But it was very compelling, and Sammy does a great job, like you mentioned, Lewis, earlier, with storytelling
Yeah.
and emotions and bringing you in to feel his want, his desire, his pain, you root for him. You root for him.
You do.
You root for him.
He's an easy guy. He's like Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is a
Yes.
very easy guy to root for because he's
Yes.
just very relatable, very lovable.
Mhm.
And it almost is. It's almost as if Sami Zayn, Bryan Danielson, like those characters, they kind of write themselves. You don't need to overly script them because they just connect with the crowd. Like
Right.
some guys just have it like that. And speaking of Bryan Danielson, he's heading
Yeah.
into, shifting gears a little bit. He's heading into a big match with
Yeah.
Jon Moxley this
Well,
weekend.
let's get to Wrestle Dream and that card right now. So, Lewis, like you mentioned, Bryan Danielson is going into Wrestle Dream this Saturday, which I lost track of, to tell you the truth. I forgot all about Wrestle Dream, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, me too.
He's going in as world champion against Jon Moxley, who's on a whole nother level character-wise, faction-wise, and I'm kind of digging it. I'm digging this Moxley. He's very dangerous. And part of me is thinking this could possibly be it because I think Danielson has some nagging injuries that is just too much to keep the title longer than he really needs to.
Yeah.
You could pass it on to Moxley, who's super hot right now in terms of the faction and this new aura, the new music and all this stuff. I'm looking at this and listen again. Danielson could possibly just win it and keep going, but if you are to pass on the torch, so to speak, I think this would be it. And to that person, Moxley, it just makes sense. What's your thoughts, Lewis?
You're right. My initial thinking was that Bryan Danielson would retain and of course he's in his home state. However,
yeah.
You touched on some good points, man. There's more to gain from Jon Moxley winning the title because of the fact that he's really firing on all cylinders with this new version of his character and the new stable. He's got John Moxley's always been a tough guy.
Oh
That's
yeah.
always been how perceived on TV. But there's something a little different about John Moxley these days.
Hmm.
So I think that I wouldn't look. I'm rooting for Danielson, right? But I wouldn't be shocked if John Moxley won the title. Like I'd be a bit surprised because I'm like, well, damn, I thought they were gonna have Danielson retain the title in his retirement match. I mean, I'm not
Right.
saying that this is his retirement match, but I don't know, man. It's not so clear cut that that Danielson walks out with the world title at Wrestle Dream,
That's true. It's not so clear cut. But you brought
which
up
is
another
which is good. You know, it makes it unpredictable.
but you brought up another good point, Lewis, which is why maybe Danielson would win is because it's in his home state. And this is and
Yeah.
also at Wrestle Dream, you're going to get the return of Swerve. Swerve is coming back. He just signed some ridiculous contract. And now he's going to be back. And who is he going to be gunning for? Is it Danielson? Is it Moxley? Who knows? But if Danielson can't go like he wants to go, then you pass it on to Moxley and let the guy just go. Like it's just, just let Moxley take over
Yeah.
from here. But we'll see, man. But the card is interesting, Lewis. I'm looking at the card. We got 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 matches as we speak. One of them being 0 Hour, Brian Cage versus Atlantis Jr. for the Ring of Honor TV championship, which no one gives a damn about. You got Darby Allin and Brody King. You have Mark Briscoe versus Jericho for the ROH championship. You have Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Kinosuke Takeshita for the AEW International Championship. You got the Young Bucks versus Private Party. Private Party's been getting some love, some
I
TV
see
time
that.
lately for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. And we got Jack Perry versus Kazuchika. Katasori Shibata for the TNT Championship. And just announced, we're going to get Jay White versus Hangman Page as well.
That should be good.
So that's Wrestle Dream. Wrestle Dream is interesting. I feel like this card is on paper not strong, but of course they're probably going to deliver.
Oh yeah, that's like that's
yeah.
AEW's MO, bro.
That's,
Like,
yeah.
Even the pay-per-views that you're not highly anticipating because the card just looks, average or mid at best. You watch that pay-per-view and damn near every match is like a 4.5 to 5-star match. So
Yeah.
but that 3-way is going to be fire. Between Takeshita, Ospreay, and Ricochet. Holy cow, that is going to be crazy.
My prediction for that match is
Takeshita goes over, right?
Takeshita goes over.
That's my prediction too.
It's time, bro.
Yeah.
It's time for Takeshita to get some gold, man. The guy is amazing. I love the heel. He's great. He's great, and he can work with anybody. So,
yeah.
But Lewis, did any other match stand out to you as like a maybe a marquee, maybe not marquee, but like maybe the third best, second best match on the card?
Not necessarily. I think the matches themselves are fine for what they are.
Mm-hmm.
You got your women's matches, your tag team matches.
Now they did not announce a women's match for this pay-per-view, unless I'm missing it.
Well, Willow Nightingale and Britt Baker, #1 contenders match on Dynamite. I would have to look up the results on that, but depending on how that turned out, the winner would be the #1 contender for Mercedes' TNT championship.
So Mercedes is definitely not going to be on this card. At least they have not announced it. So I refreshed my page and they just added the Hangman Page and Jay White match, and that Swerve returns. So we got 8 matches total, one being on 0 Hour, and no women's match announced. No.
So it could just be that the title match happens at Full Gear, which is the next pay-per-view.
That's a possibility.
just to give it more time to
breathe. Yeah.
to breathe. Yeah, because that would be such a lost opportunity if on Title Tuesday the number one contender will face Mercedes 5 days later.
Exactly. That wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah.
But again, Lewis, I've had this reaction before talking to you about AEW pay-per-views, and one thing, side note, that I cannot wait for, but I'm sort of pissed off about, is that AEW pay-per-views will be on streaming on Max, but you got to pay for those pay-per-views, which will be a discounted price. I don't love that.
I don't love that either. I mentioned to Joel last week.
The lost tapes.
Said, yeah, the lost episode. I mentioned to him last week. I said, Tony Khan, what are you doing? Fuck the discounted price. Give me the pay-per-view as a loyal Max subscriber, which I have been for X amount of years.
Yeah.
Before it was even Max, right? Like just include it. But I get it, because I think if for newer subscribers, they have to pay for an extra tier for live sports and all of that. So that's probably what Warner Brothers Discovery was thinking. Why don't we just charge everyone an extra $20 for the pay-per-view? But still, I don't like that, because Max isn't cheap as it is.
Exactly.
So to pay your monthly $17, $18, whatever it is, and then to add on another $25, $30, this shit's crazy to me.
It's whack.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but if the price is right, maybe we'll see.
Because it could also be $9.99.
Right.
And in that sense, that's not that bad.
Not that bad, right? And my thought is that Max is not going to price gouge you, because they're going to scare people away, and then no one's going to order them. No one's going to buy them.
Yeah, that's true.
So us wrestling fans ain't messing with that. If y'all are going to charge too much, we ain't doing it. We'll find other means to watch, if you know what I mean. Other means to watch. To watch these things. But that's your Wrestle Dream in a nutshell, man. I might watch it live. I don't know. I'll see. It's one of those cards where nothing specific is drawing to me except the 3-way match and the World Championship match. Honestly. But who knows who may show up. There's still the rumors of Shane McMahon lurking around somewhere.
Yeah, and he had a flight with the Young Bucks. So we'll see.
He could very well show up, man. If anything, I'll check out Wrestle Dream. I'll see clips and stuff like that. I'll try to get the main matches, at least see all the main matches. But Wrestle Dream is this Saturday, y'all. Order it on pay-per-view October 12th live. I think their start time is, because it's Tacoma, Washington, so that's West Coast.
Yeah,
I gotta find. They didn't even list the time, of course, on this damn thing. I mean, come on, guys, come on, AEW. Oh,
listen,
if start time is 3:30 p.m. Pacific time,
so that would be 2 hours behind me. So that means 5:30 for me,
and then another 3 hours. So 3 hours for me. So we're looking at 6:30 p.m. for me.
6:30.
Yeah. So. Well,
I'll tell you what. If the Yankees and the Royals go to Game 5, I don't think I'm going to be paying much attention to Wrestle Dream. Just saying. If this series goes to Game 5, that's where my attention will be.
Listen, man. I know you got other priorities, man. You got the. You ain't messing around with these Yankees, man. You're not messing. Listen,
I'm not.
Full attention on the Yankees. But man, but part of me wants you. Listen, I want those Yankees to win, because listen, it'll keep up the streak of you got the Yankee garb on. You're in a good mood so far. All that good stuff. If the Yankees lose, you might just start cutting promos on everybody. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I'm going full heel. Like sinister final boss here. Like I'm gonna be absolutely sinister. So, yes, the next episode, hopefully the Yankees are in the ALCS. That's all I gotta say.
Full heel turn for Lewis on the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
That's right.
Lewis, anything else we need to get to, or you think we got it all, man, for this week's edition?
I am on episode, I think 4 of the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix. We got to talk. Yeah, we got to save that for a future episode once we finish the whole thing. But
yes,
so far it's good.
Yes,
and it's very informative. However, the majority of that information I already knew. Same. But I'll tell you what, it's fascinating to watch it with someone who doesn't know the business. So when I sit and watch it with my missus, she's like so intrigued by all of the things that were happening with the steroid trial and then the Monday Night Wars. When they showed the clip, and we've seen this clip like 1,000 times, of Lex Luger showing up to Nitro, she was like, "What? Like that happened?" So that's what I'm saying. It's fascinating to watch it with someone who doesn't know shit about the business, because I love the part where Hogan and Triple H are defending us. And I could not have said it better myself. You know, their point to how wrestling fans are smart enough to know that this is predetermined and it's an art form that we're investing into the characters. You know, we're not watching it because we think it's real. Of course, we're suspending our disbelief, but it's, you know, it's no different from watching something on television.
Oh yeah.
And Hogan is like, I've had something to the effect of like 10 hip surgeries or some shit like that in the last few years. So explain to me how that's fake. You know, things like that. So but it's a very, very interesting documentary. I'm curious to see where it goes. Yeah,
Louis, I'm on episode 3. Haven't watched 3, so I'm on 3. And again, what you said, I knew a lot of it. But I love watching it with someone who doesn't know the business, like my wife, who's actually really intrigued. Like, she's into it. She loves documentaries, right? So this being a wrestling documentary makes it even that more intriguing, because she doesn't know much about it. So, you know, it's very, very, very interesting. I gotta finish it. And when we got our third man in the booth, Joel back. Maybe he watched it. We could do a little show on it. But we got we got some interesting ideas for some original content coming up. Not just talk about wrestling news. We're gonna break away from that, right? Before the new year, before it gets crazy and everything's just gonna be wrestling news. Because the next, from January on, from John Cena's 1 year thing that he's got planned to WWE being on Netflix and AEW's new deal on Max and all this stuff, we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about. So we gotta break away and talk about some interesting topics that we got going on. But Len, listen, thank you for joining us here on the Mark Wrestling Podcast. I'm your boy Kyote, joined by none other than the administrator himself. And let's all pray for his Yankees. Let's all pray for those Yankees. This is On the Mark Wrestling, episode 67. Check us out, IG, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff, y'all. Until next time, Lewis.
Peace out, bang.
Yes, sir.
You've been listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, a Scriptly adapted production. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at On the Mark Wrestling, and email us at onthemarkpodcast@gmail.com.